Hey guys, good morning everyone. So my name is Abhinav Chokhavatia. I'm the CEO and founder of Zatun. We are a video game studio based out of Ahmedabad, India, and we have been up and running since 2007. We have mostly been bootstrapped since day one, and a lot of games that we have done have been self-released by us. So today I'm going to talk about our journey, the issues we faced, and I don't like to sugarcoat things, so I'm sorry if I'm a bit rough. Okay. Right, so who is an indie developer? An indie developer is primarily defined by someone who has independence from large distributors and publishers. They have smaller teams, smaller budgets. There's a lot more creative freedom, and they usually decide to self-publish. Now, for the sake of clarity, they have games which have got funded upwards of $5 to $6 million, and they call themselves indie. So, for the sake of clarity, I'll keep that any games under 500K USD as indies, and teams less than 40 people as indies. Right? Okay. How many in this room are indie developers or aspiring to be indie developers? Okay. Fine. How many of I actually have released a single game? Okay. Great. So, it's hard, right? And sorry to say, there is no rainbow at the end of the tunnel. There is none. Okay. Fine. And no one really gives a shit about your game, right? Okay. So that said, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for coming. That's it. Right? But is that it, or is there more? It's hard, but it's possible, right? There is no guarantee of a rainbow at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of different rainbows, amazing rainbows, and there's a lot of dark clouds, and that's how the entire journey is, right? It's your job to make sure that people care about your game and connect about your game, right? So for each and every game that we have developed, we have faced numerous challenges and a lot of sleepless nights. This is our first game which we released in 2010 called Legend of Vaz, and this is our upcoming game called SCP Project Numa, right? The difference is there, right? So be it funding, team, distribution, marketing, we have had a lot of battles. So you can't fight them all. So figure out what battles you want to fight, figure out what battles you want to let go, right? And do your best. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone else would be doing it, right? And that's a fact, okay? So how did we start? So, Zatun began in 2007. I was working at Ubisoft Montreal, and me and a friend of mine wanted to start a studio in India. So and coming from a business family, I thought, that was something that I wanted to do. So I came down, and my friend came down as well, but he was not happy or could not adjust to India, so he left. And I stayed back and built the company from my savings and from my support from my parents. We initially took up any jobs we could get and then focused on the game industry. So my journey or background is of a 3D animator, then that of a 3D artist. And then I took a leap to oversee Zatun's operations. I have 0.000 knowledge about company management, client relationships, end-to-end game dev, none. But I honed my skills on the job and shaping the trajectory of Zatun and, with each learning curve. 17 years since the company started. And since I've been doing this. It's a very long time, right? But there is so much to learn. Each and every time we do something, I feel that I'm learning a lot. Think of it as a marathon. And think of it, how much do you want to survive, right? It's not a sprint. It certainly is not. Now, some hard truths. And I think I'll just cover them bit by bit. Funding, of course, is one. How do you build a sustainable business model or sustainable game dev process, if I may, so that you can keep on making games and have money left for next games? How do you adapt to trends, right? How do you get the right team? How do you maintain creative freedom versus what's happening in the real world, right? How do you overcome rejections, failures, and burnouts, right? And how do you survive and win? So, let me introduce the elephant in the room, that is funding. Right? This is the big one. The biggest question is, how do we start? So if I was having this talk 5 years before, I could have said that a simple deck would work. You don't need a playable prototype, but things are different now. Now you need publishers or platforms, whomever you pitch to look for a very detailed deck, a very highly polished vertical or playable. They require you to have a knowledge of the market. They require you to have an idea of the monetization. They look at your previous track record. They look at the game appeal. They look at the market potential a lot more. So now you're not only just a developer, you also need to look about the market, your audience, you also need to think about monetization. So there's a lot of different things in there, right? How we start is that a lot of our initial funds come through our services, right? And I have no shame in borrowing shamelessly from the family, right? They hate me now, but that's okay. And we have also taken bank loans to survive. That's fine. That's how it is, okay? If you're starting out small, figure out how or whom you're going to contact to make things done. Whether it's family, friends, your ex-girlfriend's parents, whoever it is, right? Platforms, indies, indie funds, epic grants, whatever you can get, government grants. Look at it. The second is how to sustain, and this is very important. How do you ensure that you have enough funds to finish the game, complete the game, and also have funds or something remaining to work on your next IP? There is no pressure on you, right? It is completely okay to pause the development and restart once you have the funds. That's completely fine, right? Diversify your revenue streams, right? And this is something which I keep telling everyone. Don't start with the biggest idea first. Don't start with this massive shooter idea or MMO RPG idea. Don't start with that first. Start with a small idea, see how it works, right? Co-develop or work with a team or work on a web shop basis. Also, don't follow the herd blindly, right? The herd is going in a different way. Do you want to be a part of the herd or do you want to do something on your own? How to adapt. So, pivoting and adapting is the key that will keep you running, right? Keep a keen eye on emerging technologies and platforms. We ourselves look at verticals where we can gamify experiences and find new users, right? A lot of success in the video game industry, if you look at it, has been a first mover's advantage. We missed the Play Store, the App Store boom, Facebook games, Android games, free to play. We missed all of that, right? A lot of games right now on the Quest 3 store are games that came out first. So a lot of stuff has been first mover's advantage. So figure out what has worked on one platform and see if you can replicate that success on a different platform, right? We identified VR back in 2016 and we felt that that would be a big thing, so we jumped in, right? We started with PC, moved to mobile, but found marketing way too expensive for us. So then we switched to VR and now I'm in console, right? So use AI to your advantage. A lot of big companies are using it, you should too. Don't worry about AI taking your jobs. It already has. Figure out how you can use AI to your advantage and make sure that you can get stuff done. Team. The one factor that will make or break your journey in this entire game industry thingy, right, is the team. Our team has changed throughout the years because we work with so many different genres and platforms, right? So it's changed. We have people who have been with us since day one, since 2007. They've been with us. We've also had people who have left us and joined us back again, right? Your team defines who you are. Your team defines your culture, so take care of it. We ourselves don't look at degrees or qualifications. We look at whether the person is a fit or not. We look at the portfolio. We look at skills, right? We have had very small teams for our initial games, but now we have a decent team for our current in-dev titles. It's a good mix of experience and youth. Work with vision, work with people who share your vision, work with people who are passionate, right? Now, the big question I always ask is, would you rather work with an intern who's like super excited and is very eager to learn, or would you rather work with someone who is super experienced, but has a very fixed mindset? How do you kind of balance that? Whom are you going to work with, right? I know this sounds very cliched, but those who are meant for you will come and work with you and join you. This again is a big one, right? You have to learn to balance your project with the market realities. You want to make a big game, amazing game out there, super high-res graphics, 100 levels, do this, do that. But also have a look at your budget, also have a look at your time, have a look at your team, right? Learn to prioritize things. If that fancy voiceover or cinematic can wait, let it wait, right? Do it later if your time budget permits, right? You love battle royales and you love your visual novels, but also kind of look at it, what you're developing, whether that will match the competition or not, right? And whether whatever you're trying to do, whether it's realistic in the time frame and the budget that you're trying to do, right? Learn to handle feedback and work with it rather than focusing only on the creative ideas. I think that's very important. For us, what we used to do is we used to make a game and then find an audience. Now, I think as I age, like not so fine wine, I've understood that we'll rather find an audience and make a game for them. That is what we're doing right now, right? And also, we are taking feedback in dev process rather than making a game at the end and taking the feedback. I think that's very important, right? And how to survive, right? It's in indie studio, it's stressful, and it's hard, but you have to learn to handle it, right? You have to pace yourself out. I mean, there's no other way around it. Learn to delegate, right? Recognize burnout for yourself in your team. I always believe that getting productive work is more important, and I have a few of my team members here, but I'll not ask them to listen to this, right? But I do believe that getting productive is more important rather than just slogging out the hours. Because if your mind is fresh, if your body is fresh, then you're able to perform a lot better, right? And have a positive environment. Foster team resilience. We have kind of hit back hurdles after hurdles after hurdles. How have we done that, right? Learn to handle rejections and uncertainties. Rejections. So you will be rejected much more by everyone than your crush in high school. Right? I can guarantee you that. That's going to happen. But this is what life is, okay? And it's very uncertain. Way back in 2022, we were like flying high. We opened up a US entity, we thought we'll do this, we'll do that. And then 23, 24 happened. And life is like, hello, how are you? Right? So everything is uncertain. So when everything is uncertain, how do you plan? Right? The idea is to just keep calm and just keep on doing what you're doing. When it's not working, realize it and then don't force it too much, right? Okay? Learn to take a break. Take a break, man. Take it easy. If you feel it's not up for it, take a break. Just go to the beach, go to the mountains, come back. I do that, right? I take a lot of frequent breaks. Your mental peace is the biggest thing. It's better than your game and everything else, okay? And sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it really worth going through so much? That's a big question to ask yourself. Now, these are a few truths, right? And this is, I think, everyone should sort of look at this before they start. So before you start doing a single line of art or single line of code, first thing you should ask is, how much funds do I require for the game, for the prototype, for the final game? What is my game platform? Which platform am I targeting first? Who is my audience? Am I targeting a very niche? Am I targeting everyone? Whom am I targeting? What is my competition? What have they done? Is this idea successful or not successful? What's my game budget? Like, how much budget do I need for the prototype, alpha, full DLC? Will I work on this alone, or do I need partners to help me out? If I need partners, whom do I contact? Should I contact, if I'm making a shooter game, should I contact someone who's done only top-down defense? No. Or if I'm making a casual game, should I contact someone who's only worked on super high hover games? No. So figure out whom you're contacting. There's no point in sending out 100 emails and then getting rejected. So figure out what you're making and who has done that and who's good in that, right? And plan for contingencies. If this game cannot be completed, what are you going to do, right? Are you going to jump off? Are you going to cry? What are you going to do? So figure out, right? So this game cannot be done. Then figure out what you guys are going to do, right? So plan for contingencies. There's a huge difference in building a demo and a complete game. Massive. It's a world of difference. So learn that, right? I'll just talk a bit about a couple of our games. So the first game that we worked on was Legend of Us way back in 2009. It was an initial game and we had a lot of challenges. And a couple of our developers left midway. I had to get a developer from Italy to kind of get the game done. And there were not many distributors in 2010. The game got rejected by Steam and Wheel because it was not easy to get on those platforms at that point in time. And the distributors in India were asking for funds, which we didn't have, right? We finally released the game on 2 platforms and it did well. Though it wasn't a monumental success, but for what we were able to put off very well considering a small team, right? And there were very few games for PC at that time. And when I met people at that point in time, people who had maybe 10 times budget and 5 times the team size that we had, they were not able to finish the demos. And here we were with a complete game. So yeah, our last game done and out. We chose March 2020 as a perfect time to start a game. And then lockdown happened, and then everything else happened. Our game was completed for PSVR 1, and then our developer friends told us that PSVR 1 market is dying down. So we waited around 8 to 9 months to get the game ready for PSVR 2. Since Quest 2 was a very major platform, but we had a very high platform PlayStation VR 2, and we had a mobile platform Quest 2. So porting the game on that platform was a pain, and we spent like 6 months on doing a Quest 2 build, and it looked like shit. And I keep telling this that people were asking us, why is the game not on Quest 2? It's such an amazing platform. And after we released the game, people were asking, why is the game on Quest 2? So that is something that we learned. And it was hard to develop for a platform which was not released. That is something that we learned. And while multi-platform is fun, we realized that it's better to stick to a single platform rather than go multi-platform from day one. So we haven't made millions yet, but we have won a lot of awards, and our IP has helped us get differentiated in a crowded market. And a lot of things happen for a reason, right? So we got into VR because it was fun. If it was not for down and out, we would not have been using Unreal and become PlayStation developers, and we would not have made a current game in Unreal. And everything happens for a reason, I say to myself. And sometimes that reason is that you're stupid, but that everything happens for a reason, right? Our bad habit is that we don't look back. Like, we just keep on moving forward. We don't release any DLCs or we don't release any updates. So I think that's a bad thing about us. Are we crazy? Each game on a different platform and a different genre. So each and every of our games has been on a different platform, different genre compared to the earlier one, right? And for a few real truths. So your game is not going to make crazy money on launch. It can, but it requires a lot of planning and a marketing, right? One more hard truth, the shooter casual game is making millions. Word game is making millions. Should you go about your crazy idea or should you go about your shooter? What do you want, right? How are you going to go about it? And last 2 slides, if I can leave you with 2 slides of wisdom, is polish, 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 right? Without polish, there's nothing. And I don't mean like good polish, I mean actual game polish, right? And this is something that I'm learning myself. Know when you are ready and know when you are not. As simple as that. Thank you, guys. Any questions? Yeah, please.
When you said that you started way back in 2007,
Yeah.
right? I believe your team would have been. Yeah, Saurav here.
Yeah.
So I repeat the question.
Yeah.
When you came to India in 2007 and you said that you started the project, I'm sure that your team would have been very small,
Yeah.
right? And there was a lot of challenges.
Right.
See, as I understand checking around here today, one thing I learned was making game is easy, but compared to after that, the launch and the marketing,
Yeah.
what was your strategy? What was your thinking when you started this journey? When you first came, you were trying to, bring to the people, bring to the gamers, right? So what was your wisdom you can send us? People like us who have some game, but we do not know or we're looking for something to showcase our game, right? So what would you do for that? What wisdom would you give us?
So I don't know, man. I'm still learning, but what wisdom? I don't know if I can call it wisdom, but I think if you have a game that you're planning to launch, right, it depends on what stage of the game it is, how much polish it is, and what audience you're targeting. Marketing requires money, and I was meeting up with a friend of mine at Tokyo Game Show a couple of months back, and his company got taken over by Tencent, right? And this is what he told me, that they spent 6 months on playtesting, and they spent crazy amount on marketing. And this is like big companies. So if big companies are doing this, you figure out how much work do you have to do. So the idea is that don't be in a rush to launch, but you can polish it, but also figure out that you're not too late. So it's a hit and miss situation. If you keep on waiting, you miss the bus. But if you kind of polish it, then you might have a good product. So depend on what stage of the game it is, how much funds you're looking for at marketing, whether you can market it yourself or not. And something that I always believe that if you have a product that you feel that it's okay, you can go out and release it, right? Worst case scenario, I think it might work, it might not work well, but at least the product is out. You can get people feedback, So rather than keeping it to yourself, just take it out. I don't know if that works for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi. So first of all, thank you for your talk.
You're welcome.
My question is regarding this 17-year journey.
Yeah.
So long. So I am assuming that in the initial part of this journey, it must have been a little bit of a struggle to get the profits right.
Right.
What part during this journey do you believe that your studio entered the green slab and things became quite self-sustaining? And do you believe that there was just one such decision or a culmination of multiple decisions and changes that you had to do to make that happen?
So I think if you look at it, I think we were in the green in the first 2 or 3 years, but then the green and red keeps on happening, right? So maybe in 2022 we were in super green, 23 we were in a bit of green, 24 in a less green, 2016, 17 we were in super green. So it depends. Up in green and red it keeps on happening. So I think our idea was to make sure that we always stay ahead of the curve. And as I mentioned that a lot of people who have succeeded have been first movers advantage. So always keep on looking at what new can we do. And also it's all a question of comfort. So first VR and console gave us a comfort that this is the canvas in which we can make the game in. Something that mobile was not possible on. So that is where we decided to switch. So sometimes decisions have been made to switch from mobile to VR because of finances. Sometimes decisions have been made considering tech in mind, that okay, this is a tech that is coming up. Right. So those factors have sort of forced those decisions going forward. Yeah. It's a sec.
So, what role does marketing play in your success?
Marketing does play a role in, I think I would say not in our success, but in game success it does. And I think we have tried a lot of marketing in different ways. We have tied up with PR agencies in the US, in India and elsewhere. So I think marketing is crucial. I mean, unless until, if someone says that they are not marketing the game, I think it's either pure luck or they are lying. Right. So marketing, each and every person and each and every developer at any point in journey or studio at any point in journey is facing a single issue, is discoverability. How do you get your game discovered? And that is $1 million question. That only happens if you build a community, which we are not doing. Then the other option is marketing. Right? And it's not just like crazy marketing, you have to figure out your marketing in a budget. Because marketing, earlier when we started game dev, marketing was 20% and dev was 80%. Now marketing is 80%, dev is 20%. So you can imagine the funds that you need. Thank you. Guys, we have 2 more minutes, so yeah. Yeah, Dipesh.
So thanks a lot for this.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for
Yeah.
this wonderful session,
Yeah.
sharing your honest experience with all of us, and the advice regarding polish. I would like to know how you kept the team motivated during the last 17 years, and particularly during the tough times, making the games when you said that the game only 7 or less than 10 developers are working on. How you kept the team motivated during the toughest times?
I mean, I think we just do it, right? I mean, we don't think about it. I think if you start thinking about it, you kind of run into issues. So we just keep on doing it because we all have this vision to kind of complete the game. For me, the biggest priority has been to complete the game. We have not left a single game hanging midway. So that is what keeps us going, right? Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, guys. So last question, if anyone. No one? Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you.